Hi, I'm Jonathan Mertz, and welcome to Jonathan Mertz Just Talking About Whatever, my podcast where I talk about whatever I want. It's my podcast. It's that simple. And this podcast doesn't have to be very complicated, although I have made this thing very complicated on coming on here and giving content, because sometimes, even though it's supposed to be a place where I come just to kind of throw how I'm feeling out there, that's separate from more of my other produced podcasts like It's Your Break and Adventures with Bubba, well, it's a place where, I just come out and say what's on my mind and give a little background of, hey, what's happening behind the scenes, things like that. And behind the scenes is where I've been focusing, and I haven't been pushing out these episodes like on a weekly basis because I'm not really sure how often I really want to put out these episodes, but I do want to do them in a, I guess, expected fashion, whether that's once a month, once a week, daily type situations. I'm still working on the details. I'm still trying to get out, okay, how do I want this to really turn out? And honestly, I just thought about it as a journal. You get into it and you do it as much as you want and as little as you want. But overall, don't quit it. Just do it. That's the way I look at it. Anyways, coming up, I'll tell you exactly what's been going on with me. Welcome back. Hi, I'm Jonathan Mertz. If you didn't know already, I guess I could have a guest host on this podcast, but it's my show and I'm talking about whatever. And so what's been happening with me behind the scenes? Well, brainstorming, and a lot of it. And a lot of it. Because I have this show I'm brainstorming for. It's like, hey, what do I want to cover? Is there things I really want to get out? Because one of the other things I wanted to do with this podcast is to create content that my son, my family can listen to years down the road that is just advice from me from being me. It could be just old stories. It could be lessons learned. It could be things that I wish I did, ideas I may have. And maybe it's something they can use later in life, or you. And that's the reason I'm putting it out there public, because it's not just for them. It's a place for people to be able to go listen, but it's not just for them. And so I do have a lot of topics where I'm kind of looking at that. I'm working on the new season for It's Your Break, which is coming up soon. I keep saying that. And Adventures with Bubba, that is a beast in its own, because I script everything in that, because it's completely voice acting. There are a couple of episodes where I go off the cuff and kind of put them together because I think I can do it better that way. But they are very, very scripted stories. And then you got all the time editing them, because I do put a lot of sound design in them. And if you haven't checked it out, go to Adventures with Bubba. Search it up there on Spotify and Apple Podcast or Google Podcast. Or it's on all three. I think it's even on Amazon. I can't remember what's all on these days. There's so many podcasting distribution points. But the easiest way, if you can't find any of that, is to go to it'syourbreak.com. It'syourbreak.com. So that is a easy way to find It's Your Break, and McGripe, and Bubba. We won't find my podcast on there, although I should put a link leading back to my website, which is just jonathanmertz.com. Now, you're like, well, how do you spell your name? Jonathan? Or you may be like, I don't know how to spell Jonathan. And you may use the inappropriate way of spelling my name. I say it's inappropriate because it's not the way I spell it. And it's JONATHAN is the first name. The last name is Mertz, MERTZ. .com after that. If I had to say that, I'm sorry. But I'm assuming that you already knew that. But if you didn't, okay, yeah, I put it out there anyways. So, looking at things behind the scenes, what's going on? Well, I've got a lot of things happening with my 9 to 5, going through there. Got the new promotion going, and working on everything there. And it's its own entirety. And I don't speak on that too much, mainly because I'm not allowed to. And then working on my personal stuff, like It's Your Break, Bubba, and obviously here, JonathanMertz.com. I don't know where these weird sounds are coming from my voice. It's like I'm almost kind of semi-congested right now. So I've kind of got that sound going. Let's see if I can clear my throat here. And, oh, well, way up high here. Oh, hello. Do you come here often? Yeah, you do. Oh, you sit in front of this microphone and you look straight at it and you talk in it. Oh, that's nice. Me too. As a matter of fact, hey. See, I do weird stuff like this sometimes because that's where my mind goes. And I've always done that as a child. So I've always done silly voices. I always wanted to act. I always did all these weird little interesting little things. And played out roles in my head, played them out outside of my head. But knowing that I'm doing it, that's the difference. I know that I'm doing it, and I have fun with it. And my son says I'm so weird for doing stuff like that, but it's what I do. I mean, it's what I've been doing for a very, very long time, and I've been doing it the best I've ever done it. And I don't know why I did that. But yeah, so it's, one of those things that my mind with ADD and I'm going 100 different directions and I have to slow myself down, pull it back. Come on. Take it easy now. Pull back. Take a breath. Now, you're relaxed. You should be able to go on now. For like 10 seconds, and then I'm back into like the super mode of the fast. Whoa! I'm the Flash. I'm Barry Allen. Or Wally West. I'm running. But yeah, that's just pretty much the way my mind works. And then I think that's one of the reasons I was so enthused about doing voice work and learning to do animation. Whether I was doing my Bubba voice or Adventures with Bubba, or I was playing a character in a role for radio or some commercial, whatever. Or if I was doing some, hillbilly bit and then go down a little bit like this and you make yourself sound like whatever. And then you do the impersonation stuff too. I mean, there's the classic stuff that I always go to. Like, hey there, Scoop. Like I got my Shaggy, which is not like Matthew Lillard's and it's not like Casey Kasem's. It's my own. I kind of put my own spin on it. And then, there's all kinds of other impressions I've done over the years. And, let me tell you, if you start taking this voice like this and you start to make it kind of drawn out, and it kind of goes in and out a little bit more, and then you start to realize that you start talking a lot like Goofy. Hey there, Mickey. And, you kind of walking in and walking out, walking in, walking out. And you kind of find those tones and you kind of listen for them, because you can find different inflections in them that make those sounds. And not all my impressions are perfect, but they get the gist across. I mean, when I was younger, one of my first impressions was of Mickey Mouse. Now I had trouble because I can't hit that same register that I used to be able to hit to get that tone just right to where I like it. I can get pretty close. But it's, my name is Mickey Mouse. That's my key in. My name is Mickey Mouse. Is kind of like where I bring that in. I hit those tones, and that's how I get into that. I know I'm completely off topic about what I do behind the scenes, but this is some of the things I actually do. I work on these things, and that's not a voice I've worked on in a long time, but these are the things that I do, and that go through my head. And sometimes I'll sit in a room, and I'll think, okay, yeah, let's do these things, and I'll do stuff, and I'll say silly stuff, and my son's like, you're really weird. I'm like, I know this. I did this even though I had 3 younger brothers and 1 younger sister. I still went off and entertained myself, because sometimes I found more entertainment by myself than I did with others. And I'm sorry if you hear my Apple Watch go off. I did mean to turn that on silent earlier, and I totally forgot because I got on this tangent inside my brain before going and turning on the mic. Turned it off on my phone, but did not turn it off on my Apple Watch. Which the Apple Watch is supposed to mirror the phone, and it just didn't do it automatically. Yeah, so I do tend to go off topic quite often, especially when I'm just going off the cuff. Now, if I'm focused and I'm doing an interview with somebody, I'll have things that's already pre-read out. A lot of times that I've read about them. But even then, I don't use a script. I don't use like wrote out questions. I just see how the conversation goes. There's a few things I write down in the beginning. It's like, hey, here's what I need to learn real quick. Okay. Or if it's a major celebrity, which I used to do all the time in radio, they would say, hey, we want to make sure you cover this question, this question, this question, this question. And if you can get that in within the first 30 seconds to a minute, especially if you only got it for like 5, then you get the rest of that time to ask them all kinds of other cool questions. Now, I wasn't one to start asking about their relationships or anything like that. I would actually ask them more, I guess, personal questions about what they like to do. Like, hey, when I was talking to Jeffrey Donovan from Burn Notice, it's like, hey, what do you like to do on your off time? Or Joshua Gomez from the NBC series Chuck, like, what do you do on your off time and stuff like that? So, and that's what I would do. I would put that in. And, they are some of the coolest people to interview sometimes, the celebrities are. And there's some that you have trouble even pulling stuff out of them. One, they really don't want to be on radio doing interviews. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One, it could be just because they're getting up to way too early. 2, they could be a person that's not really a lot, doesn't like to talk a lot about themselves or, uncomfortable just doing interviews. Whereas acting, they already know what they're going to say because it's scripted, right? So they're more at ease in that environment. And then sometimes you have these hideous radio jocks back in the day that would ask them all kinds of inappropriate questions and make them feel very, very uncomfortable and vile. We, radio, have this reputation of tearing people apart and getting into the play of things. And radio was the real place of gossip before Entertainment Tonight and all these kind of gossip TV shows and magazines barely got their hooks in everything. And before TMZ, radio was the true villain of the celebrity. But if record companies wanted their stuff played, for music people, they had to suffer through it. But when it came to actors, you really never heard actors getting on the radio unless they were really desperate. Or their production company made them. I mean, that's really, really what it got down to. But then you make friends along the way, like James Arnold Taylor, who does the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars: The Clone Wars. As a matter of fact, this has got to drop the brand new Lego video game where he's redoing that voice in there for that particular series. Still the same voice. He's not really redoing the voice. He's just adding the voice to that. So it's his Obi-Wan. These are not the droids you're looking for. I don't know how he does it. He does it really well. And then you have people like Anastasia Brown. I don't know if you saw my Instagram post where I was talking about she's one of my favorite guests to ever have. Because she was. I mean, she was this person who took me in, as a radio guest and really kind of we had this kind of good dynamic in the interviews. And I interviewed her over and over and over again when she was on Nashville Star as one of the judges. And as a matter of fact, the year that Chris Young won that show, Chris Young, the singer, the country music singer, the year that he won that show, she got us tickets to the season finale of that show. We got to meet and greet with Chris and hang out and all that good stuff. So that was really, really cool. And she did it because I actually had a good dynamic with her. I wasn't trying to, be this really, I want to get all the racy stuff, and get all these good gossipy bits. No, I was genuinely, as I was trying to get that out, interested in what she had to say. And she was genuinely, I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that today, interested in what I had to say. So we had a good dynamic. And she's still super nice to me to this day because we had that type of rapport. And I'm fortunate to have some of these connections. But the way you keep those connections is you don't burn the bridges. Obviously, if you meet a celebrity and they're toxic or whatever, you definitely want to shy away from them. But I still would not burn a bridge unless they've done something like totally against you that you have to do no choice but to stand up. But, you know, those are few and far between instances. And I will say they are truly few and far between. You hear nightmare stories about people meeting celebrities, but you got to remember, they're always being approached. People just think they can just willy-nilly come up and interrupt them in the middle of a meal. I mean, how many people interrupt you during the middle of a meal? Unless it's a close friend, they typically don't. Now, this day and age, you might see somebody get upset because of something you're wearing or something to come approach you. Or the way you look. You don't look right to me. I don't think you should be looking like that. And those people are complete idiots. I will say it again. They're complete idiots because they're in places stepping up where they shouldn't be. If the people aren't breaking the law, it's not your responsibility to stop it either. Call the authorities if they are breaking the law. Period. Get out of it. Okay? That's plain and simple. But anyways, I guess I'm going to get off here, go brainstorm some more. And hopefully, I didn't lose you too much. But like I said, this is just a place for me to go and blog, say what's going on. But yeah, so I'm going to go type some more and write down ideas. As a matter of fact, in case you want to know how I'm doing my ideas these days, I use Google Forms. And you're just like, why would you use the Google Forms? Because it creates a spreadsheet and puts everything in that spreadsheet. So if I just have a one-off idea, instead of trying to find that document, I go to, and now I can do it just in a spreadsheet, but sometimes I like the questions that I ask myself in that Google form. And then it fills it out accordingly in the spreadsheet. And to me, it's just the flow is better. And then I hit submit and it's added to the sheet. And then I can go from there and elaborate on it on separate tabs as I create it in that sheet. But that's something I do. So I don't know if you're interested in doing that type of stuff or not, but that's what I do. Anyways, until next time.